Do-over. I guess my internet connection went out. Anyways, I was sick on Wednesday, and that's why I didn't post the article I wanted to post. But now I'm going to do a swatch along for all the noobs doing their first 6-day kid blanket to get ready for the challenge that starts in 2 days. And I'm releasing 2 new pattern variations. They're not really new patterns. They're variations on existing patterns. The Superstar pattern and the regular 6-day kid blanket pattern. This is an adult version. And we're doing Erin Boom's colors. She put together some really great colors, and a lot of people were asking, what did she do? How'd she do that? So I wrote it up as a pattern variation. And then the Superstar variation is the beautiful mixed colors that I did for, let's see, what I'm going to do. There we go. Anyways, it's new stuff. It's coming on Sunday, and I'm going to do a swatch along right now. So if you haven't swatched, you can swatch along with me. You can go back and watch the replay. If I go too fast for you right now, let me try and get this in focus just right. Okay. All right. So in my YouTube, I said that the slip knot counts as 1, and boy, oh boy, was I ever wrong. Do I ever wish I had never said that. But here's the thing. It's only 1. It throws you off by 1 if you do it that way. But now I'm just going to do it the right way because now I know better. My grandmother had, or my mom or somebody always taught me to count this one as 1. But that's just not the way it works. So we're going to do 37. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to try and go slow for you guys. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. Okay. Your chain of 37. Let me open up my couple of these windows here because I hear comments going, "Hey, Boom, girl, we need you to come on here on the broadcast. Maybe on Sunday. Hi, Carrie from Australia. On Sunday, maybe you can come on with me when we start. And let me know what time is going to work for you. I think the challenge starts on Sunday. Is that right? I think that's right. Okay. Row 1. Starting in the second chain from the hook, that would be this one. We're going to single crochet in each stitch across. So I work into the top loop only in my chain. It's okay to work under 2 loops if you want to. It's also okay to work into the back bump. All of those ways are correct. It's also okay to do foundation single crochet, although I don't do it. I don't like it for blankets. I wrote a whole blog article about why, although I know there are some people who use it and they don't have any problems with their blankets stretching out, but it's not my preference to use it. It flares on me. Hi, Courtney. It flares on me, and I like a more substantial edge. So, yeah, don't just do something just because it's easier than, or you don't like working into chains, so you'll just do foundation single crochet instead of working into a chain. Do what's right for your project. It's worth it to put a little extra effort and time into the details, and trust me, just what happened upon you. What are you making? My internet cut out on the last one, if that's what you're referring to. I'm making a swatch. I'm doing a swatch. This is a swatch along for the newbies who need to swatch, and you do need to swatch, people. It's much easier to swatch and learn the stitches and practice your striping if you're going to do a striping technique. When you're cake mixing, you're probably not thinking about striping techniques because you're going to be using cake yarn, and that's going to make the stripes for you. So you're not thinking about, am I doing snowflake effect, or am I doing half snowflake, or am I doing vivid stripes or confetti? You're just, you're starting up, working up the cake yarn and just letting the stripes fall where they may. So you should have one less single crochet than you have chains. So if you chain 207, you should have 206 single crochet. If you chain 37, you should have 36 single crochet. So let's see how I did. I always count at this point. And if you have a really long chain, you can count and use stitch markers every 10 or so rows, or every 17. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. I'm so nervous. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Yes, we did it. Hi, Jody. Okay, row 2. This row is also known as the double. So you're going to chain 3 or 4. I actually usually chain 4 to turn because my edges curl if I don't. Lay it down and admire it all the time. Okay, and then we're going to skip 3. Technically, this is, not really a stitch, but we're going to count this one. 1, 2, 3. We're going to do 3 double crochet in the next stitch. If you get this row right, you're golden. This is the row where a lot of people get hung up. Skip 2, 3 double crochet in the next stitch. Skip 2 again, 3 double crochet, chain 3, 3 double crochet in the next stitch. Someone wants to do a king. You're crazy. Okay, so what we have here at the end of the row is you'll have 2 sets of 3 double crochet. But in between, this is the mountain here where the point goes up, and the valley, which is going to be down here. In between, you're only going to have one of these. Okay? It's important to know that the ends, the sides of your blanket are going to be different than in between the mountain and the valley. So we skip 2, we make 3 double crochet in the same stitch. Yeah, Jody, how does it feel to be looking back on the swatch along as a veteran blanketeer now? And encourage all the noobs because you can get this. Okay, now we're going to skip 2. Hi, Linda. And we're going to make a DC3 together. All of the stitches go into the same stitch. It does not decrease over 3 stitches. And there's a lot of controversy about how to write this stitch. Is it a cluster or what is it? And you know, I just wrote it the way that I remembered it, how to write it, and 3, 4, and it's right there described in the special stitches. So you do not decrease, you make a cluster, all 3 into the same, you work a double crochet without finishing it 3 times into the same stitch, and then pull all of them closed. Tootie wants to start a king size. Girl, you're crazy. Okay, and you skip 4 in between. 1, 2, 3, 4. I know it feels like a lot, and it looks awkward on that first row, but that's going to make your chevron, and it's going to bump down. Okay? All right, now we're skipping 2, 3 double crochet in the same stitch. Skip 2 again, 3 double crochet, chain 3, 3 double crochet. Oh, this little ball of yarn. Hi, Therese from Queensland, Australia. Lay your work down often and check it, okay? Lay it down often and check it and admire it. Feel good about it. Do you chain 394? 2D, did you make a swatch and measure it? You should make a swatch and measure it with your yarn, and then you use my resize video to figure out how many you need. Each one of these points is 17 stitches. Okay, so you measure it and then you divide, you multiply by 17 for it and figure out how many points you're going to need. The resize video will show you how to do that. So see, I have two. Hi. So some people, if you're on Facebook, it just says Facebook user. So if you're talking to me from Facebook, say who you are. That would okay, so see how you have two, you're going to have two clusters of 3 double crochet on the edge, but in between you only have 1, and then the 3DC cluster in the valley. Okay, so be aware of that, because some people will get this far and then they'll be like, oh, I'll see the pattern here, and they'll try to put two clusters of 3, and then the DC3 together, and then they get to the end and they say, I have too many or too few stitches, and what did I do wrong? So that's a common error. Okay, so the ends of your blanket are going to be different than in between the points. All right, so let me finish this row. Skip 2, 3 double crochet in the same stitch. There's a chart in the files that says about how, that gives measurements for common sizes of blankets. So you want to use that to determine how big you want your king size blanket to be, how wide. And then you measure your swatch and you do a little math. Hi Cheryl. Okay, so 2, and then skip 2, and your last double crochet is going to go in that very last stitch. That is row 2. You're welcome, my dear. The resize video is very helpful because I could give you a number, but I don't know your gauge. I don't know your yarn. I don't know how big you really want that blanket. You might want it to go over the edges of the bed. I always chain 4 because my tension is a little bit too tight, okay? So chain 3 or 4 to turn, whatever you need, and then 3 double crochet right into the space. From here, the blanket is easy because you have that setup row 2. And then 3 double crochet in the next space. I love crocheting into spaces. This is when you can really go fast. Well, it's the lighting. I have a lot more lighting up here now. You should see how many lights I have going in here. It's ridiculous. 3 double crochet, chain 3, 3 double crochet into the chain 3 space. Hi Jenny. Lovely to see you also. It took me a while to get my space set up and get it the way I wanted it, and then it's been so hot up here this summer I couldn't even work up here because I don't have AC in this room, so I couldn't even work up here. And now we're going down. We're going to do 3 double crochet in the space. Tomorrow, I'm not going to make any promises, but tomorrow I will try to come on and do the first 8 or so rows of the Superstar. And then we're going to do, let me see, DC3 together in the next space. and then we skip the middle space and jump over to the next space and another DC3 together. I am still loving my furls, actually. I really do love them. I've been crocheting a lot lately. The other the other patterns, they're the same stitches, just I've just given different yarns to use and a different size, different techniques. Everyone was asking about Erin Boom's colors and my colors for the mixer blankets, so it's really about mixing the colors. You can totally figure it out and do it if you already know. Yeah, actually, this yarn is some of that Karen Pantone, and it does glide really nicely on this hook. (3DC) chain 3, 3DC in the top of the mountain again, in the chain 3 space. And I can almost do these stitches in my sleeve. Yeah, Valerie, you are a pro. You can make your own combinations, I'm sure. If you want to. Well, thank you, Jody. It is pretty. It is. I'm gonna say that when I first used this yarn, I thought it was kind of splitty, but it's not splitting on me with this hook. So I don't remember what kind of hook I was using on it before. I'm also going slow, so that might have something to do with it. It doesn't, if you're using variegated, then you don't need to, if you're using a cake yarn or a self-striping yarn, you don't have to worry about snowflake variation or what kind of striping you're going to do, because the yarn's going to stripe on its own. Looks like no more big cakes like Marianne uses. Yes, the starting chain. I mean, that's basically the pattern. It's the 6-day kid blanket pattern, but we're giving you a specific starting chain, and we're giving you an order to do the cakes. So it's the same stitches. We're just, instead of saying like, hey, you know, like make your own size, we're giving you her specific size, and it's a 60-inch by 80-inch blanket is what Boom made. But to me, it's really long. But for us, for a star, what am I saying? For a tall person, it's probably not that long. You are, well, we use the Karen Big Cakes. They have some new colors out. So the new Superstar variations I made with Karen Big Cakes. You can make a Superstar with 4 of them. I think you might be thinking of the tea cakes. Those are gone. They're gone, sadly. Okay, so I'm on the last stitch of row 3, and here's how I do it. I go from the back to the front to make this stitch, and that helps my edges, helps keep them from curling. And then you chain 1, moving on to row 4. Single crochet in the first stitch, And here's something people miss. Skip the second one and then single crochet until you get to the chain 3 space. Whoops, see there it's splitting because I'm started to go faster. Yeah, it can be a struggle. I've got lots of stash. That's why I'm designing on yarn that's probably going to be discontinued. I ordered from Wool Warehouse, and I'm in the US. I ordered from Wool Warehouse, and it got here in 2 days. I couldn't believe how fast it was. Okay, in my chain 3 space, I'm going to single crochet 3 times. 2, 3, and then continue working across the row, single crochet. The only thing you have to remember about row 4 is you have to skip in the second stitch and the second to the last stitch of the row. Don't forget. Okay, sometimes I've started doing this, but rather than working into these stitches, I'm working between them. One of our mods posted a video, and it just closes up that space a little bit. But it doesn't say to do that in the pattern. So I don't like to confuse noobs with that. But that is something that I actually started doing it on the star blanket, and then I just got in the habit of doing it. So that's how I do it now. Single crochet in the chain 3 space. Yeah, I couldn't believe how fast it was, actually. I thought it would take forever. And I'm a big fan of Lion Brand, so I would order directly from them. And then I was at the outlet the other day and I heard them say that you can call the outlet directly, and I know Mr. Jack had said they ship anywhere, but you can call the outlet directly, and if they have it at the outlet, they will send it to you. But I heard them saying that they don't have anything to do with the mail, the online ordering for Lion Brand. When you go online to their website and order online, they said at the outlet, we don't have anything to do with that. But if you call us here at the outlet, if we have it, we will send it to you. Okay. Tell me we need tea cakes. Well, here is, I'll just set this down for a second, even though this is the swatch along. But I was there the other day and I bought these. Oh, it says Woolies Roving on it. 80% acrylic and 20% wool. These were in the bin of like new things I've never seen before. So I don't know, this might be something you could use instead of tea cakes. They're thick enough. Oh, and I'll just show this too while I'm here. These are Boone's colors for the tweed blanket, the Boone blanket. Colors are really bright and rainbowy and warm, and my colors are cooler, and my blanket's in the other room, so my colors are cooler, more blues and browns. Okay, back to swatching. So now we're on row 5, which is a double crochet row. Well, it's neat because I'm going slow. I don't think they have their own website, but you can call them, they said. So I chained 4. It looks a little funky because I worked that stitch from the back to the front. The Lion Brand outlet is in Carlstadt, New Jersey. And when I'm done with this swatch, I'll look up the phone number for you. So you skip 2, and then you're going to double crochet in the next stitch. You make 8 double crochet up to the mountain. You're welcome, Facebook user. Was that 8? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Uh-oh. Well, what did I do? I made a mistake. Oh, I did. I made 2 double crochet in 1 stitch. This is the row that likes to test you. Okay, 8. And then once you get 8, you should be at the center single crochet, and then you make 3 double crochet in that center single crochet. And then you're going to work your way down. You're going to make 7 double crochet down the valley. 1, 2, and I'm counting, but I'm going to show you a little trick at the end where you don't have to count. Yes, it'll be available on my page and on YouTube. I have it set up now with the restream so that it goes to YouTube. So and it'll be public there. Okay. Do you see how this last number 7 double crochet lines up? If you look at this group of 3, and this last double crochet coming down into the valley lines up in between this 2nd and 3rd stitch of this cluster right here. Okay, that happens on every 6-day kit blanket, every 6-day variation. The star blankets, it's really useful for the star blankets because this number of double crochets changes with every row, so you know you're there when you hit that single crochet space that's centered above these last 2 right here. So you know that you are at the end. And then this is how I cheat and don't count, because I don't count a lot. And then you know you're going to skip 2, and then your next double crochet is going to go in the next stitch. So that's a little cheat code right there that lazy crocheters like me come up with to do. Then you know once you hit that last one that's centered over the 2nd and 3rd stitch of the 3 double crochet group 2 rows down, then you stop and you skip 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See, I didn't even have to count that. 3 double crochet in the center, single crochet at the top of the mountain, and then going down the side you have 8 double crochet. You are welcome, Jody. All these little tips and tricks. But that's a really good one for the star blanket because it can be kind of confusing. And I know I need to make a good tutorial video for that to help people get past that join, the single crochet join at the beginning of the round. It throws people off, and then the problem is they don't realize they've made a mistake until like 2 rows later, and they don't know what they did. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I work from the back to the front at the end of the row always to keep the row from twisting, to keep the edge from curling. My edges still curl, but it helps alleviate it a little bit. Always lay it down and admire it. Linda, 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 Ryder Reynolds is here. Listen to me, Linda. Linda, Linda, Linda. All right, we have another double crochet row here. I chain 4. If I don't, my edges curl, but you don't have to. You have to try out your swatch and see what happens if you need to chain 4 or not. So we're skipping 2, we're making our first double crochet, and then it'll be 7 double crochet. 8 double crochet up the side. I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit here. Three double crochet in the center, double crochet from the row below. Oops, yeah, see I'm starting to split because I'm going a little bit faster. And then 7 going down. And you'll know you hit it when you have 1 left at the bottom of the valley there. Skip these 2. Let's start here, 7 double crochet going up. This pattern never gets boring. There's just enough to do. Skip a couple here, 3 and 1 at the top. It's just like enough to keep you interested, but not be overwhelmingly complicated that you can't talk or watch a show. And then you'll have 8 going down the side. I'm almost out of yarn, so I'm going to add in my yarn on the next stitch, even though I'm so close to the end of the row. If it were a real project, I would probably wait until the end of the row. Oh, that's a good idea. So I'm going to add this in. I'll show you how I do it. I pull it through on the last pull through of the double crochet, and then I take the two ends and I flip them up and over the working yarn, and that just kind of locks them into place so you don't have that big so you don't have a gap. And then I work my next stitch, and then this one I'm going to go. So you'll notice that sometimes I work into the space, and on the last row, sometimes I work into the space and sometimes I work into the stitch, and I follow. See here, I worked into the tops of stitches for this whole row, so I work into the stitch and the turning chain. Down here, I worked into spaces, so at the end of the row, I worked into a space and not into the chain. I don't know, I keep it consistent that way. I feel like it looks, consistent. Okay, so I probably would never do this if I could avoid it, just have that one stitch in a different color, but oh well. That's the way, sometimes that's the way cake yarn falls, if you're using self-striping yarn. So, single crochet row, single crochet into the very first stitch below your hook, skip one. If you forget to skip that one, your counts are going to be off and you're going to be saying, should I not have counted the slip stitch when I chained? Which at that point could never even possibly be the cause of the problem. Yeah, a lot of people forget that they have to skip the beginning and the end of the row. The yarn that I'm using is Karen Pantone. That's why there's just so little of it. It's those skeins that had like 4 colors attached and just, not very much yardage of each color. It is working up nicely. Oh, thank you, Lori Allen. That's very sweet. Somebody asked me one time, what's your favorite row? I think this is my favorite row of the 6-Day Kid blanket because I can just zone out and watch my show. But I also like doing row 2 also because it's complicated. I don't know. It's just like the combination of the rows are really satisfying. Pattern is at bettymcknit.com/6-day kid blanket. The swatch pattern is bettymcknit.com/swatch. So I'm making a swatch right now. So I go from back to front on that last stitch because my edges curl big time. And the swatch pattern doesn't say this, but one of these days, when I get around to doing all the things I say I'm going to do, I'm going to update it to continue. You should really continue your swatch to row 4. Okay, this is rows 1 through 7. And it's looking pretty good. I think I got everything right, but see how it flares out? And once I work, row 2 again, it's going to come back in. So you'll get a little bit better idea, what your swatch is really going to look like. And if you're trying any kind of striping, you should definitely keep going on, and do at least one more repeat. So I'm going to continue to row 4 for my swatch. So we're back to row 2. I chained 4 for my turning chain. You skip 1, 2, 3, and you make 3 double crochet in the next. And this is your back to the devil row, And if you made any mistakes on your single crochet row, like if you forgot to skip at the beginning and the end, this is going to show up here. So it's another reason why it's a good old boiler rowboat suggested we update the swatch and make everybody go to row 4, because that's when you realize you didn't skip properly on the single crochet row. You get cocky and you think, oh, I got it, I understand, oh, this is single crochet row, and you just whiz across doing your single crochets and you forgot that you had to skip the second and the second to the last stitch in the row. You just thought, oh, I just can fly across this row, but you can't. Skip 2, DC3 together. 1, 2, and there's a YouTube just for this stitch, just for how we do this stitch. And then the skipping, you skip 1, 2, 3, 4. It feels like you're just jumping over a country mile, but you're not. And yes, it will pucker and accordion a little bit, and it's okay. That's going to work itself out. Your blankets are going to stretch. Any knitted or crocheted item will stretch with use, and that will flatten out. Hey Erin, we'll see you later. Check in with me, okay, about when I can bring you on Sunday. Also, the blanket ends on row 4, so that's another reason to continue your swatch to row 4. Here I go back to front. And this yarn does work up beautifully when it doesn't split. And it does have very nice stitch definition, but look, see, there's where I split it. And it's like, once you split it, then what? Then what do you do? Am I supposed to trim that off? 2, 3, 4. And turning. 3 double crochet into the space. Oh, see, I love this row too because you can work into spaces. And boy, can you ever go fast when you can work into spaces. I wonder how many Karen Pantones you would need to make a whole blanket. Oh my gosh, you would need so many. Always lay it down and admire it. Think good thoughts about your work. Lay it down and look at it and say, look what I did. That looks pretty good. And it gives you the chance to check to see if something's off and something doesn't look right. Because, you know, we've all been just working along, not noticing we have a mistake 15 rows down. We've all done that. So that's why you lay it down every row if you can. Every row, lay it down, look at it, and admire it. See that little bit of puckering there is fine. It's totally fine. See that gap? That gap is totally fine. Does not have to be tight. It's a question a lot of people say, I have this big gap. I can't get it to close. You don't want it to close. You see how big my gap is, and I have a little bit of buckling right here, so it doesn't need to be super tight. Crocheting into the spaces feels good. It's easy and you hardly even have to look at it. Working from the back to the front on the end on the last stitch, and see I worked into spaces the whole way across, so I'm working into the space at the end of the row. Chaining one to turn. Now single crochet row 4, and this will be, if this was the end of my blanket, this will be the last row. Skip the second stitch. You don't skip that second one and the second to the last, your count will be off. Three single crochet in the chain 3 space. You can continue to work across the stitches, or optional, work into the space between these, for these next 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. It's on either side of and between 3 DC3 together. 1, 2, 3. And then if you're worried about that big gap, it kind of closes it up. That's not a must do. It's an option. It's just a little trick. I've made dozens of blankets without doing that. I started doing it on the star. I don't know, for whatever reason, it just seemed like it worked on the star. 3 single crochet and chain 3 space at the top of the mountain. Last stitch, I'm working in the chain from back to front. And there is my swatch. And that took me 55 minutes to make a swatch, and I went beyond row 7 all the way to row 4, and I was going slow. So I think 1 hour of my time is worth it. Newbies, it's worth it. You will save yourself the time and the aggravation of ripping out, hours of work if you just try to jump right into a 123 chain or 200 chain blanket and you get thrown off in row 2. Really, you're going to be so frustrated. If you work this up first and you have problems, we can take a look at the whole thing and we can see where the problems are. If you have a 200 chain and single crochet and you're on row 2 and you're ending up with extra stitches, it's hard to look at that whole thing and go, oh my goodness, like, where did she go wrong? So do this first and post a photo. Not even newbies, any new yarn. That's true. If you're making a new size, whatever size blanket you've never made before, you're using different yarn that you've never used before and you want it to come out the right size, take an hour and whip this up and measure it and weigh it and figure out your yarn. Figure out your stripes. We don't even have a name for whatever striping technique this is. This is nothing. I ran out of yarn at the end of row 6. This isn't one of our stripes. If I had started on row 2 with the new color, that would have been half snowflake. But it's not even half snowflake. It's nothing. It's half of a vivid chevron, I guess. It's half vivid chevron. And always lay it down and admire it. That's how we roll here. Okay, no promises, because the last time I promised something I woke up violently ill. So tomorrow I will try to come on and do the first rows of the Superstar to help people get their Superstar going. Yeah, because I know we don't have a really great video for that, but I'll try and come on. Thank you. It's also pretty nice, doesn't it? Those colors really are not bad. All right, I'm going to take off and I'll try and come on tomorrow and do my thing again for you all. Thanks for checking in. Oh, I'm trying to make my music go. There we go. Oh, oh, oh.